Hey everyone, Sam here. So welcome to a bit of an early, almost like a pop-up installment of Fearless Fridays, even though it is Thursday. So I am joined today by Paul Conti from Investors Group. And we have been working together for, I guess, a few weeks now, looking to do some workshops for parents and kids about investments and financial literacy. And so happy to have Paul join me today for a little pop-up Facebook Live so we can talk about some things that you might want to know and you might find interesting as we start to talk about financial literacy for kids. So Paul, I guess to get started, you and I had kind of had this conversation yesterday about, I find that sometimes parents are wondering, they know that financial literacy is important and they know that it's something that they should be talking to their kids about. But I guess from your perspective, for me as an educator, obviously I think it's important to prepare our kids with, life skills. But from your perspective, as someone who's kind of in that investment industry, why do you find it so important to talk to your kids about it and kind of educate yourselves as a family on investments and financial matters?
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for having me in here today, Sam. I think the most important thing, why it is important for parents to talk to their kids is in the education system right now, there really isn't anything available to educate children on finances. When you're a little younger, it's a little different, but when you're in high school, especially learning things, how to save for a house, what a down payment looks like, credit cards, mortgages, student loans, all that sort of stuff. Things I feel that should be covered on a regular basis and should be a staple in the curriculum aren't. So that's where, parents having the knowledge, the time to talk to their kids about these types of things can really, fast forward, what me and you might know now in our 20s, and they can learn in their, teens, and they can just be more prepared faster. So
awesome. Yeah, no, that's great, because I know that's one of the things that myself and colleagues, and we've talked about it before too, is, now that we're kind of in our 20s and I'm like, I wish I had known this when I was younger. Like, I still don't, if it wasn't for Paul, I wouldn't even know how TFSAs work and stuff. I have one, but do I know how it works? No, until Paul explained it to me. So, so very important.
I didn't do that much, but you guys should give yourself some credit.
Yeah. So I guess, Paul, if you wanted to share some of the, you had some interesting statistics and kind of some points that you wanted to share about education and, why it's important to start investing and saving them and get your kids to think about it earlier rather than later so they're better prepared.
Yeah.
So do you want to share some of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for most families, the next major purchase or major expense in their lives is going to be sending their kids away to a post-secondary education. So university, college, if it's a trades program, anything like that, that is typically most families' next big expense. And just to throw some numbers out there, these numbers are from Knowledge First, a Canadian education company. Today, a 4-year university degree program, if we were to send our kids away to resident, it would cost about $85,000 for a 4-year program.
That's a lot.
In today's dollars, right? If they weren't in residence and they stay local, maybe Seneca, York University, U of T, those sorts of things, just for education cost tuition alone, you're looking at roughly about $45,000. So very, very expensive in today's dollars.
Yeah.
But most parents are looking 10, 15, even 20 years down the line for their children when they want to have them. So just to kind of throw some other numbers of what it would look like in about 18 years. Mm-hmm. So say you had a kid today, what it would look like when they go away to school. For a 4-year university degree, it would cost about $124,000 to send someone away with residency.
Oh my gosh.
That's almost a 50% increase from what it costs today. So that's something to do with inflation and how education is going higher than inflation. So something really important to think about. And even if you're just sending them to a local university where they can commute or drive there, you're still looking at about $67,000 for a 4-year degree. So quite a bit of money that you have to, and if you have 2, 3, 4 kids, it's a lot to think about, and it is a huge expense for parents, and that's why starting as early as you possibly can to fund these education goals becomes so important.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's never too early to start thinking about saving and things like that, right? So yeah, I mean, what I really like about what you guys do at Investors Group is, you know, just as much as we're helping to kind of educate kids for skills for their future, you guys also help to get the parents involved, so they are also more prepared to help their kids build out skills for their future and, you know, plan for their future so that they're as successful as I'm sure every parent wants their child to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, not every parent has the resources or the funds to obviously pay 100% for their child's education. So what options do you have there to assist you? Well, the first thing is, you know, if the kid is willing to, they can start a job. You know, I started working when I was in grade 9, at my first job. So I was working at the hockey rink. I was the guy who shoveled the snow after the Zamboni got off the ice. But that was my first job, and you know, they can start saving. They can, you know, put, you know, funds away for, you know, housing costs, groceries, transportation, anything along those lines. You know, it's a great way to teach fiscal responsibility to kids at such a young age. They can understand what a savings account is, a checkings account, those sorts of things. But even then, sometimes it might not be enough. So a lot of students today rely on government funding through OSAP, so Ontario Student Assistance Program there, and it is huge for a lot of kids. They make constant changes, you know, with what amount qualifies for repayment and all that sort of stuff. But just to sort of give you an idea about student debt load coming out of university, so say approximately 50% of students who graduate will graduate with approximately $26,000 in student loan debt.
Wow.
It is quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm feeling that right now.
But the nice thing about these government programs such as OSAP is that you can deduct some of the interest on that loan on your taxes. So it is an investment in yourself at the end of the day with some preferable tax treatments when you start repaying it back. So lots of options. That's a route that, you know, majority of students, especially in Ontario, are taking across Canada too. And yeah, like, I mean, that's just something to educate your kids about, and then just to, you know, as long as you know what's happening, they can know what's happening, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a big thing is, you know, educating, I mean, even for like myself, like we talked about, is, you know, educating ourselves as adults, so how we can better kind of educate our kids about it, right? So for me as like an educator, the more I know about how these things work, the more that I can, you know, start to share that knowledge with kids and then answer questions accurately and effectively as they, you know, may come up. So whether that's in, you know, sometimes in our entrepreneurship programs, they talk about when they start their own business and how are they going to save for their business, what do they need to know. And so the more we kind of talk about it and learn about it, then the more they have like a deeper understanding of how these things, this big world of like money and investments actually work. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for parents out there watching, I want to run through with a few accounts that you would use to, you know, fund your child's education. And the most popular one that we find is the RESP, the Registered Education Savings Plan. This one is fantastic because if you put money in, the government will give you grant money back. So there's, you know, a lot of percentages and numbers to how much they'll give you, but, you know, as long as you're contributing on a regular basis, the government will be putting money in as well. So that's a great supplement. So you want to make sure you're getting as much free money as possible, right? And just in terms of the total amount you can actually invest within an RESP is $50,000 of your own personal money. You can grow that money through investments to $100,000, $200,000, doesn't matter, but the amount you can physically put in is $50,000. And just to sort of give you an idea of some growth, if we wanted to get to that $123,000 in our RESP to fund our child's education, how much do we need to be putting in on a monthly basis? So starting from day one, you know, they're born, they get their SIN number, we open up the account for them right away. Moderate growth of about 5%, you're looking at approximately $350 per month per child to get to that $123,000. If you want to just make sure you're covering things like their tuition, so getting that $67,000 amount in there, you're looking at about $200 a month. But if we were to wait even 2 years, you're looking at having to add like an additional $60, $70 per month. just to catch up for the amount of time and growth that you've missed out on. So
that's crazy.
Starting
over time, that's a lot of money.
Exactly, right?
So.
And starting early is the best way to sort of get ahead of yourself, make sure that you're well prepared for when they need to go to school.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And parents always ask me this: is what happens if my kid doesn't go to school? You have 3 options. I mean, everybody wants their kid to go to school, and you can use the RESP for, like I said, university, post-secondary. You can use it for school in a different country, an apprentice program, college, anything like that.
Lots of options.
Exactly, lots of options to utilize with it. But if the first one is you can wait it out. I think you have up to 31 years when you open the account for your kid to use that money. So you can wait it out. Hopefully, eventually they decide to go to school, and then you can give them the money for that. The second option is you can put the money into your own RESP, or your own RSP, sorry, your retirement account, which is fantastic. You can roll it over tax-free, no penalty there.
Yeah.
And the only thing is any grant money that was given to you by the government has to go back, because that is designed for the kids' use. And if they're not using it, it does go back.
That makes sense.
But any growth, you get to keep it, which is great.
Cool.
Yeah, so there's a few different options you can figure out if they don't end up. It's a long ways away for most parents to take that far. But again, a little earlier we start planning, the more successful we'll be in the future.
Exactly. Yeah. And as we all know, time certainly flies. It seems like, just yesterday we were doing our last summer camp, and now it is April. So it's never too early to start thinking about these things. So thank you all for joining us today, whether you are joining us live or joining us kind of on a replay as we post this on our feed. I believe Daniel from your group will be joining us tomorrow.
Daniel, the consultant I work with, he'll be in tomorrow to do a little talk, probably more focused around retirement planning and things, for the parents to start thinking about their long-term goals as well.
Perfect.
Aside with their kids, it's what we're going to be going through tomorrow.
Yeah, you got to take care of yourself too, right? Kids are great, but you also need to make time for yourself.
Exactly.
So we are actually running our workshop in conjunction with you guys. There's one coming up next Friday, and then another one in May, I believe. And so we're running it jointly where the parents, so you guys can come upstairs and learn from Paul and Daniel about how to kind of put some of these savings or put some of this knowledge into action. And then we at Some Minds will be downstairs doing workshops and activities for your kids. So you don't have to worry about, it's a Friday night, I don't have a babysitter or anything like that. Let us take care of your kids as you guys get educated. And I believe the sign up is done through Eventbrite.
Yeah, Eventbrite. So we can post the link
in the
comment section below. Here. Yeah, it's great. So we're just going to be going through some strategies and concepts that we coach our clients on a daily basis to utilize, whether it's for education, retirement, tax saving strategies, that sort of stuff up here. The kids, Sam's going to take care of the kids downstairs, go through some fantastic STEM sessions, and I think we're doing robotics.
It's either robotics or 3D printing, so both really cool options.
Yeah.
If you do 3D printing this Friday, then next time will be robotics, so there's always a chance to catch those, so you won't miss out.
Yeah, and dinner and refreshments are going to be served for you, so no cost. We'll put the link in the comment section below, so we hope to see some of you out here there. It's going to be a great time, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome, yeah, and I think you said registrations, we want to get them in by Sunday.
Yeah, so we'll have to plan with the caterer for all that stuff, so if we can get our registrations all done by Sunday, that would be fantastic.
Yes. So we'll post the link in the comments now. If you're interested, please sign up by Sunday, and we hope to see you all next Friday, and thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, Sid.
All right, awesome. Bye, everyone.